Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I think that all this garbage that occurs right now in Ukraine and unfortunately destroys Ukraine and the Ukrainian nation could have been avoided, or at least, I don't want to say postponed, but given more time to solve it in a diplomatic way. They started with Minsk Agreements 1 and 2, but Al Capone had other ideas in mind. So, nevertheless, we are at it, or they are at it, and a lot of Ukrainians are being decimated as Russians and others. The problem is the guys in charge of Ukraine want to take care of the entire Ukraine because they think this garbage that occurs over there is an existential war. I don't think it was an existential war. I don't think it is an existential war for Ukraine or Europe and United States of America. They try to turn it into something like this, so they get the idiots, not talking against it. So what do we have here? We have some guys in charge of the Ukrainian nation, together with a propaganda machine, telling the Ukrainians that this is an existential war, therefore we must use everybody else. Probably it's going to be a general mobilization pretty soon in Ukraine, unless someone intervenes, and that could be Zaluzny, I'm guessing, and stops this garbage. But Zaluzny has to take care of his life because he might be hit by the Americans and the Brits, or the other way around, the Brits or the Americans. Which one hits him first? Why? Because he's not one of those guys, it seems to me, that is on the payroll of these guys. He's following certain directions, orders. He's got his personal motives, I'm pretty sure. But nevertheless, he is not an idiot. And to me, so far, he didn't seem to be a traitor. And by the way, I think this builds trust. Hey, he's Ukrainian, if you know what I mean. So what do we have here? We have here a guy, a politician, a governor, a regional governor, a Ukrainian, coming and saying that 40 million Ukrainians must fight. Now, 40 million, it was a long gone number of the Ukrainian nation. Now, there's no more 40 million. The last figure that I saw was 19 millions living in Ukraine, with all the guys who left the country, guys who died, and people who hide, whatever. What can you do? Some people think that this war, existential war, is not worth fighting because it's not an existential war. Let's look at Russia today. I have an article from today, the 28th of December 2023. Let's see what it says about these statements coming from this regional governor. So 40 million Ukrainians must fight, regional governor says. Kiev should mobilize entire country. What does that mean? That means general mobilization. Instead of proposed additional 500,000 people, Vitaly Kim urges. Ukraine should mobilize its entire population to fight against Russia instead of the 500,000 recently proposed by President Vladimir Zelensky. The governor of the Nikolaev region, Vitaly Kim, has said. Well, Nikolaev region is, let's go to this map right here, is by Crimean Peninsula, by Odessa. This is Nikolaev. Right here. So, in this region. So, he's the governor of this region. Good for him. So, just so you know. Now, Kim's comments in a TV interview came after Zelensky stated last week that Ukraine's military command has asked to conscript 500,000 men over the coming year. The secretary of Ukraine's Parliamentary National Security Committee, Roman Kostenko, I can only guess who that guy is by the first name, explained that a mobilization drive is needed to cover casualties and form new units. So, send them all for these guys. So, send all the Ukrainians, sacrifice their culture, sacrifice their traditions, their unity, the nation. For what? For some financial, economic interest somewhere on that globe, because you're not certain exactly where they are. But They use the United States of America to achieve its goals. Okay, so let's move on. Kim, however, argued that conscripting 500,000 people is, quote unquote, not enough, and that Ukraine needs to attract at least 2 million volunteers. You have to attract them. How? Give them $1 million? Or better still, the governor suggested Kiev should look to mobilize the country's entire population of 40 million. Well, how are you going to bring the refugees? Claiming that the fight against Russia is similar to World War II. No, it's not. They try to make it look or sound like that. It's not. In addition, Kim suggested that all enterprises in Ukraine should be mobilized and put on war footing, regardless of the impact on profits. And I'm quoting, the more we mobilize, the faster Putin will surrender. The governor said, this is an idiot. And what do you think Putin is going to do? Just say, okay, guys, all yours. Here are the key to my nuclear weapons. Over there is, the rest of Russia, the resources is yours. I would think I would commit a seppuku or harakiri for you. Lavrov is going to go to, Hawaii or something, is going to move somewhere in the United States of America. What do you think is going to happen? What do you mean surrender? And pay $1 trillion in reparations? Gotta be kidding. This is a naive, dangerous guy. But whatever. He doesn't have power, does he? He says Zelensky's proposal to mobilize 500,000 people has raised eyebrows even in Kiev, with Commander-in-Chief Valery Zaluzhny stating that he had never requested any specific numbers from Zelensky and has only demanded, as always, ammunition, weapons, and human resources. It's like a hot potato. They started politics. They try to frame Zaluzhny, making him appear to be the guy who wants to kill the Ukrainian nation, his nation, not Zelensky Stein, with Zhmihal Stein, with Yermak Stein, and with what the other guy's name, the Minister of Defense, Umerov, who is not an Umerov Stein, he's Umerov because he's Tatar. No, sorry, Ukrainian Tatar. My God. Ukraine's finance minister, Sergei Marchenko, has also seemingly been baffled by Zelensky's proposal, stating that no concrete plans have yet been submitted to his ministry, and that it is unclear where Kiev can get the money to fund the mobilization of 500,000 people, which would cost an estimate of $13.2 billion. Right there. However, some have suggested that Zelensky's mobilization announcement may be an attempt to encourage the West to provide additional blah, blah, blah. The thing is this, my friends. According to Russian estimates, an estimated 400,000 Ukrainian troops have blah, blah, blah. Nah. Why do you want more personnel? Because the personnel at hand does not reach the goals that you made. That is, make Putin surrender somehow. Sitting on, 7,000 nuclear weapons or something. He's going to surrender. These guys are just imbeciles. But anyway, they portray Putin as being this criminal, illogical madman. And on the other hand, this madman, illogical, stupid, bad, evil, however you want to call him, is not using the nuclear weapons somehow. Why is he afraid? Because he's a weasel too? I thought that being a madman is something like irrational. You're crazy, not angry, you're mad like crazy. So that means you don't really know the consequences of your actions, you can't plan ahead, you're just mad. You act just impulsively. So if he was not achieving his goal, Putin goals of destroying the whole world, quote unquote, right, in Ukraine for 2 years, now he has patience. So madmen have patience. I mean, clinically, I don't think that's proven. I know that madmen are impulsive people that are not rational. Logical, that's madness, right? Not being logical, rational. So Putin somehow just doesn't use those, and he's a dictator, so that means he has the entire power, they tell us. Everything that moves over there is Putin's button 3492, right? But somehow he didn't use those nuclear weapons. No, my friends, this is garbage. Anyway, the garbage, unfortunately, we talk about, and other people make a lot of profits on the back of a Ukrainian nation that is destroyed, decimated. Well, imagine some people in some dark rooms, or maybe, I don't know, some bar rooms with some, because they can do this, with some cigars and some good, whatever, bourbon, whiskey, enjoying themselves over there, fat as fuck, and telling us what to do, where to go, what to eat, and so on. And these guys are looking at their stocks, or they ask their assistants to look for their stocks and how their industries are doing in the banking system, according to how many people died in Ukraine, what kind of territories one acquired, what the other ones lost. Do you think they look at the numbers as just numbers, regardless if they're cars, money, or human beings? You don't think so? Well, if you don't think so, maybe I don't require a reading, but it requires experience. Just rub shoulders with some, not even at that point. You can't get there, but I mean, you can, but I don't think in one generation. They're very, very uninclusive. They're exclusivists. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.